What if the greatest monuments of the ancient world were not tombs for dead pharaohs, but something infinitely more profound? Something that will rewrite not just our past, but our entire understanding of human capability? What if the Great Pyramid of Giza and its silent brethren were never meant to house the dead, but were in fact colossal machines? Titanic power plants built to harness the very energies of the earth and the cosmos. Forget what you've been told. Forget the simplistic narratives of ramps and slaves. Let's peel back the layers of sand and dogma and explore a possibility so audacious it could redefine the dawn of civilization. Let's entertain the idea that thousands of years ago, our ancestors built a wireless, global energy network, and the Giza Plateau was its central, throbbing heart. To understand this machine, we must first dismantle it, not with dynamite and crowbars, but with the tools of physics and imagination. We must look at it not as a pile of stones, but as a masterpiece of functional engineering, where every single element, from its precise geographic location to the very type of rock used in its construction, served a deliberate, technological purpose. The journey begins deep beneath the bedrock of the Giza Plateau. Ancient texts and modern geological surveys speak of vast aquifers and a network of subterranean waterways flowing beneath the pyramids. This is not a coincidental feature. It is the primary component. Water, especially flowing water, generates a type of electrical energy known as a streaming potential or a telluric current. As the Nile's waters filtered through the porous limestone and into these underground channels, the friction would create a significant electrical charge, an ever-present hum of telluric energy that permeated the entire plateau. The pyramid was built directly on top of this natural generator, positioned to tap into this foundational power source. Now, let's consider the structure itself. The Great Pyramid is not made of just one type of stone. Its core is composed of millions of blocks of Tora limestone. But this limestone is unique. It has an exceptionally high magnesium content and a very low moisture content, making it an almost perfect electrical insulator. This insulating property was crucial. The entire outer casing of the pyramid, now long gone, was made of pristine white Tora limestone, polished to a mirror-like finish. This outer layer wasn't just for aesthetics. It was a functional surface designed to prevent the energy generated within from dissipating uselessly into the atmosphere. It was the ceramic sheath on a massive spark plug. But if the outside was an insulator, the inside was designed for conduction. The inner passages and, most importantly, the grand chambers were constructed from a swan granite. This granite is not ordinary rock. It is rich in quartz crystals up to 55% in some cases and contains trace amounts of metal and radioactive elements. Quartz is a piezoelectric material, which means that when it is subjected to mechanical pressure or vibration, it generates an electrical voltage. So how was this pressure applied? The entire pyramid, weighing an estimated 6 million tons, sits directly atop the Giza Plateau, squeezing the bedrock. But the primary source of vibration was likely the Earth itself. The planet is not a silent, static sphere. It constantly hums with a low-frequency seismic resonance, known as the Schumann resonance, vibrating at a fundamental frequency of around 7.83 Hz. The Great Pyramid, with its precise dimensions and mass, acts as a colossal resonant cavity, a gigantic tuning fork designed to vibrate in sympathy with the Earth's fundamental hum. This constant, subtle vibration, channeled and amplified by the pyramid's geometry, would place the quartz-rich granite of the inner chambers under continuous mechanical stress. The result, a steady, reliable conversion of mechanical energy into electrical energy. The piezoelectric effect in action on a scale almost beyond our comprehension. This process starts in the so-called subterranean chamber, a roughly hewn room deep in the bedrock. This chamber, directly connected to the telluric currents from the underground water, acted as the initial pulse generator. Think of it as the ignition switch. The energy from the Earth was focused here. From there, the energy was directed upwards. The ascending passage, leading to the queen's and king's chambers, was not just a corridor. Its precise angle and granite construction suggest it was a waveguide designed to channel energy. Let's consider the queen's chamber. For years, its purpose was a mystery. To sealed shafts lead out from it, not to the outside of the pyramid, but stopping partway through. In the 1990s, a robotic probe discovered small copper handles on a stone door at the end of one shaft. Copper is a superb electrical conductor. What if this chamber was involved in an electrochemical process? Some researchers have theorized that a chemical reaction was induced here, perhaps using a hydrated zinc chloride and hydrochloric acid solution funneled down the shafts, creating hydrogen gas. This hydrogen would then fill the upper chamber, the king's chamber. The king's chamber is the epicenter of the machine. It is a perfect box, built entirely of massive, precision-cut red Aswan granite blocks. It sits isolated from the main pyramid structure, a room within a room, designed to resonate. Above it lie 5 relieving chambers, stacked layers of enormous granite beams. The official explanation is that they relieve the weight of the masonry above. But in our power plant model, they serve a far more sophisticated purpose. They act as a series of resonant diaphragms or capacitor plates. The hydrogen gas, being the lightest and most atomically simple element, would create the perfect pressurized, energy-conducive atmosphere within the king's chamber. The combined vibrations from the earth, amplified by the pyramid structure, and potentially low-frequency sound generated within the Grand Gallery would all converge on this chamber. The Grand Gallery itself, with its corbelled walls and resonant slots, could have functioned as a massive acoustic resonator, generating a specific frequency of sound that was directed at the king's chamber. Imagine the scene. The earth hums. The pyramid vibrates in sympathy. The telluric currents from the water below provide the initial charge. The piezoelectric granite converts the vibrations into electricity. This energy is channeled upwards. A chemical process in the queen's chamber produces hydrogen, which fills the king's chamber. The Grand Gallery emits a powerful, focused sonic frequency. All of this energy, seismic, electrical, sonic, culminates in the king's chamber. The quartz crystals in the granite, now under immense vibrational and sonic pressure, would release a massive amount of electrons. The entire chamber would become a supercharged resonating box, a powerhouse of vibrating energy. The granite beams above it would oscillate, acting like a stack of piezoelectric transducers, converting the pressure waves into a powerful electrical field. The energy produced would be microwave energy, the shafts leading out from the king's chamber, which conventional archaeology labels as air shafts despite them not being aligned for simple ventilation, were not for air. They were waveguides, precision aimed at specific constellations, but also at the ionosphere. The final piece of this extraordinary machine was the capstone. It was not made of ordinary stone. Historical accounts, like those of Herodotus, describe a capstone that shone brilliantly. It was likely made of solid gold or an electrum alloy, a perfect conductor. This capstone, sitting at the apex of the pyramid, would act as a collection and transmission point. It would gather the immense microwave energy generated within the pyramid and, due to its shape and conductive properties, convert it into a powerful, focused beam. This beam of ionized energy would shoot straight up into the ionosphere, the electrically charged layer of our upper atmosphere. The ionosphere, excited by this constant stream of energy, would in turn become a vast, planetary scale conductor. It would create a standing wave of energy around the entire globe. This wasn't about cables and wires. This was wireless power, broadcast through the very fabric of the planet's atmospheric layers, available to anyone with the right receiver. If this was the reality, the world of the ancients would look nothing like the primitive, grunting image we hold in our textbooks. The implications are staggering. This wasn't just about lighting up a few temples. This was the foundation of a global technological civilization, with a source of clean, limitless, and wireless energy. The possibilities are bounded only by imagination. Agriculture would be revolutionized. Instead of being completely at the mercy of the seasons and the Nile's flood cycle, they could power advanced irrigation systems, perhaps even atmospheric water harvesters in arid regions. Food production would become stable and abundant,
to unlocking
freeing
the
a
secrets.
massive portion of the population from subsistence farming and allowing them to pursue other trades and sciences. Cities would be transformed. The streets of Memphis and Thebes would be lit, not by flickering torches, but by a steady, clean light, perhaps emitted by resonating crystals or gas-filled tubes that reacted to the ambient energy field. This would extend the day, foster commerce, and make cities safer. Industries would flourish. Without the need for manual labor for every task, they could develop powered machinery. Imagine stone-cutting tools that hum with energy, slicing through granite with an ease we can barely replicate today. Imagine power looms weaving intricate textiles, and furnaces reaching temperatures high enough for advanced metallurgy, creating alloys we have yet to rediscover. The great temples and monuments we see, with their impossibly heavy stones and precision engineering, suddenly make more sense. They weren't built with brute force and copper chisels alone. They were built with powered cranes, energy drills, and perhaps even sonic levitation devices powered by the Giza grid. Knowledge and science would have exploded. With basic survival needs met, the human intellect would be free to explore the universe. Observatories, with powered telescopes and measuring devices, could chart the stars with unprecedented accuracy. Libraries wouldn't just hold papyrus scrolls, but perhaps repositories of knowledge stored in crystals or other advanced media, accessible through energy-powered devices. The very understanding of physics would be fundamentally different. They wouldn't have discovered electricity in the 19th century. It would have been the foundational principle of their entire world. They would have understood frequency, resonance, and harmonic energy in ways we are only just beginning to grasp with quantum physics. Their medicine might not have relied on herbs and guesswork, but can have involved vibrational healing, using specific frequencies to mend tissue and cure disease, a concept that modern science is tentatively exploring today. This energy grid wouldn't have been confined to Egypt. The Great Pyramid was likely the main transmitter, but other pyramids and megalithic sites around the world, from the ziggurats of Mesopotamia to the pyramids of Mesoamerica and perhaps even stone circles like Stonehenge, could have been nodes in this global network. They may have acted as secondary power plants, relays, or receivers, each tuned to the primary Giza frequency. This would explain the uncanny mathematical and astronomical similarities between ancient sites, separated by vast oceans and thousands of years. They weren't isolated cultures. They were part of an interconnected, powered, global civilization. Travel and trade would have been revolutionized. If they could manipulate energy on this scale, could they not have powered vehicles? Perhaps not combustion engine cars, but vehicles that levitated on electromagnetic fields, gliding silently over land and sea along planetary energy lays. The world would have been smaller, more connected. But what would be the environmental cost of such a technology? We think of it as clean energy, but manipulating the planet's fundamental frequencies and its ionosphere on such a scale cannot be without consequence. Drawing vast amounts of telluric current from the Earth could have altered subterranean geology over centuries, perhaps increasing seismic instability in certain regions. Constantly bombarding the ionosphere with focused microwave energy might have had unpredictable effects on the weather. Could it have caused localized heating of the atmosphere, altering jet streams and creating superstorms? Did it affect the planet's magnetic field, our primary shield against solar radiation? Perhaps this power came at a hidden price, a gradual destabilization of the very planetary systems it was designed to harness.
Just what we needed.
The local ecosystem around Giza would have been saturated in a powerful energy field. While it might have stimulated plant growth, its effect on animal and human biology over long periods is unknown. Could long-term exposure, have led to genetic mutations or neurological disorders. The priests and engineers who operated the pyramid, who worked within its most powerful chambers, would have been exposed to incredible levels of energy. They would have needed a profound understanding of its effects, and perhaps develop protective measures or techniques to mitigate the harm. The society itself would be structured differently. With free and abundant energy, the very concept of wealth and power would change. It wouldn't be based on hoarding resources like gold or grain, but perhaps on the knowledge of how to build, maintain, and utilize the energy grid. The ruling class wouldn't be kings and pharaohs in the way we think of them, but a technocratic priesthood, a council of scientists and engineers who held the literal keys to civilization. So, if this magnificent,
we're making real progress on the global energy network.
Where did it go? Why are we left digging in the sand,
Another node
piecing
connected.
together a primitive history from broken pottery, when our ancestors might have commanded the power of the gods? The collapse of such a civilization would have been more catastrophic than the fall of Rome. It wouldn't just be the loss of an empire, but the unplugging of the entire world. Several possibilities present themselves, each more chilling than the last. Perhaps it was a natural catastrophe of cosmic proportions. A massive solar flare, far larger than anything modern humanity has witnessed, could have struck the Earth. The pyramid and the ionosphere, designed to channel energy, would have become a conduit for this immense solar blast. The system would have overloaded catastrophically. The pyramid's capstone might have vaporized in an instant. The chambers within could have exploded or fused, silencing the machine forever. The resulting electromagnetic pulse would have fried the entire global grid, every receiver, every power device, in a single moment. Civilization would have been thrown back into the Dark Ages, but a Dark Age more profound than any we know, for they would have fallen from a much greater height. Alternatively, the cause could have been human, as the knowledge and control of this immense power became concentrated in the hands of a few. Corruption was inevitable. Factions could have vied for control of the grid. A civil war fought with energy weapons would be unimaginably destructive. It's possible that in a desperate act of war or sabotage, one side targeted the Giza power plant itself, creating a cataclysm that not only destroyed the machine, but perhaps altered the very climate of North Africa, turning lush grasslands into the Sahara Desert we see today. The legends of a war between gods, of Atlantis sinking beneath the waves, could be the fragmented, mythologized memories of the fall of this technological predecessor civilization. Or perhaps the most terrifying possibility is that they shut it down deliberately. The high priests, the guardians of this technology, may have realized the environmental damage it was causing. They may have seen the gradual destabilization of the planet's climate and magnetic field, and understood that to continue would mean the end of all life. Or perhaps they saw the social decay it was causing, the wars and the lust for power it engendered, in an act of ultimate sacrifice and wisdom. They may have decided that humanity was not ready for such power. They performed a final, complex ritual, not to activate the pyramid, but to decommission it. They dismantled the key components, flooded the lower chambers, sealed the passages, and encoded their warnings and myths and allegories for a future generation to decipher. They chose to let their world die so that the planet itself might live, and so that humanity might have a second chance to evolve, this time more slowly, more wisely. In this scenario, the Great Pyramid is not a ruin. It is a dormant machine waiting. The sarcophagus in the king's chamber was never for a body. It was the housing for the central resonating crystal or device, long since removed. The empty passages and chambers are not a sign of grave robbers, but of a deliberate and careful shutdown. We, in our modern arrogance, stumble upon the silent titan and, unable to comprehend its true purpose, we label it a tomb. We see primitive superstition where there was advanced physics. We invent stories of slaves and ropes because the alternative that a past civilization was our technological superior is too humbling, too disruptive to our carefully constructed timeline of progress. This changes everything. It reframes our entire history. The ancient Egyptians of the dynastic period were not the builders, but perhaps the inheritors, the distant descendants living in the shadow of a forgotten golden age, attempting to replicate the wonders of their ancestors with dwindling knowledge and lesser means. They were the cargo cultists of a lost science, preserving the rituals without understanding the mechanics. The Book of the Dead might not be a guide to the afterlife, but a garbled instruction manual for operating the machinery of the pyramid. Its esoteric language a faded echo of complex technical terminology. Today, as we face our own energy crisis, as we burn the fossilized remains of ancient life and choke our planet's atmosphere, the silent stone structure on the Giza Plateau seems to mock us. We are searching for new sources of clean energy, experimenting with fusion and advanced solar, while the answer may have been sitting in plain sight for millennia. A testament to a path not taken, a knowledge lost. We are the children who have forgotten the language of our parents. We look at the Great Pyramid and see a mystery of the past, a puzzle to be solved. But maybe we're looking at it the wrong way. Maybe it's not a message from the past, but a blueprint for the future. A challenge, a reminder of a potential that lies dormant not just within its granite chambers, but within us. What if the key to unlocking our future, to creating a sustainable global civilization, lies in rediscovering the forgotten science of the ancients and understanding the profound, harmonic truth that the earth itself is the ultimate source of power? What if we could turn it back on?